Well, as you can imagine, Devil May Cry 3 was the peak of the series. It perfected everything that the series had done up until then, and with the launch of the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, we had jumped into high-definition gaming, and it was time for Devil May Cry to take that leap. In 2008, Devil May Cry 4 was released. Did it hold up to the high standard of the series, barring DMC2? Well, that's tricky to say. I love this game for what it does right, but it does one major thing wrong, and we'll get into that. This review contains spoilers for the entire game. It's been over 10 years, people. You've had plenty of time. Also, I'm playing the special edition which came out for PS4 and Xbox One in 2015 because that has more features, just so you know. So the story begins with this new kid named Nero, voiced by Johnny Young Bosch. Wow, another Power Rangers actor is in these games. Nero is, well, a pretty young punk who doesn't care about anything but his girlfriend Kire, who also has a brother named Credo. He's at church with Sanctus, the leader, giving a speech when suddenly... Oh, well, that's, yeah, they really tried to make you think he was going bad in this game. Anyway, what follows is a tutorial fight against the mysterious assassin. Gee, I wonder who he could be. So Nero beats Dante, or really you get the sense that Dante was just going easy on Nero. It's alluded that Dante knows Nero already, so now Dante is on the run and Nero has to go after him. But the game doesn't take too long to let us know that Sanctus is the real bad guy of the story, considering that he's resurrected with a demon, and we also get introduced to Agnes. He has a stutter whenever he speaks, like DJ from The Last Jedi, but much more consistent. So Nero spends most of his story chasing after Dante. Nero is a little bit like Dante. I understand he's like the new Blood character, you know, like Raiden was in MGS2 or Axel in Mega Man X7. It's just he seems so interchangeable from Dante sometimes.
Demise. Don't you think that's a little harsh? Killing me because of the way I talk?
Now granted, there is a reason for that that's vaguely hinted at, but I'm not going to reveal it just yet. Save it for DMC5. Really, his story deals with discovering that Dante is not the bad guy. There's a little drama when he has to fight Credo. You know, this guy reminds me of Neji from Naruto. A little bit. I hope that doesn't mean what I think it does. So, Kire gets captured, pretty much serving the damsel in distress role. I feel the only thing lacking is the onrushing train. But I suppose sometimes expediency outweighs originality. So Nero's story climaxes when he fights Dante again. Yet again, Dante was taking it easy on Nero. It's so good. Dante's acting like an uncle to him. Yeah, surely that doesn't mean anything.
That sword was used to separate our world from the demons. I can't have something of that kind of power floating around now, can I? It's gotta stay in the family.
I need this.
Then keep it. Now that you're calm and cool, get going. Hey! What's your name?
Nero. You're Dante, right? Not a bad name.
Neither is yours. That regal look suits you.
I dress to impress. Are you sure you want to let him go?
Trish! Man, I haven't seen you since... Wow, DMC1! Been a while, actually. And here's where I will cut off the story for now. Let's go into the other stuff before we continue. This game, it looks beautiful. The environments are gorgeous. The music is as awesome as ever. I love the way the castle looks and how the town looks. It's just such a breathtaking visual to behold. Also, at long last, a 3D camera. Been a while, but I love being able to move the camera. Now for the gameplay. Nero plays similarly enough to Dante, the sword strikes and the gunshots, but what Nero is built around is his arm, the Devil Bringer. Using this arm, Nero can bring them in for a grapple and just outright pummel the enemy. It works great against boss battles as it allows for cinematic strikes. I'll get into them in a minute. Nero's not too bad to play as. He doesn't have a devil trigger, he uses a gyro for his attacks. His sword, the Red Queen, works like a motorcycle. You have to charge it up. What really stands out to me are the puzzles that Nero has to solve. Particularly this part where you have to hit a die to progress. Depending on what space you stop it on, it's very tedious, but I realize that there is a way to cheese it. It will go as far as the die that you hit it on. We have a few major areas. There's the town at the beginning of the game where Nero learns how to use his arm as a grapple. There's the forest, which leads to very confusing mazes. And if you go the wrong way, you have to go all the way back. Oh boy, nothing I love more than that. Then there's the castle, which is basically just up and down each floor, progressing a little bit further each time. Like when you have to push these gyro statues out. That's where you enter the big church where Sanctus lies, and you have to avoid the red lasers. It's all set and good. One particular touch I like is that Nero has to leave the winged talisman behind after going up a lift. One of the new things the game adds is the Proud Soul, which allows you to trade for abilities and items. These can be earned via style points. The better your combo, the more points you receive. So all of that is pretty much in place, but because I bought this game digitally, I had lots of points, so buying an ability I wanted or needed was never really a problem. I had so many red orbs and style points that it was amazing. Of course, I would never get that luxury with other DMCs, it just broke the game. The bosses in this game, well, they're big. Continue on from the trend that bigger is better. Burrell is this big fire demon from hell. Bale and Dagon is this giant toad with new woman attached to him, kinda weird. There's Echidna, not like Knuckles, no. The most satisfying thing about her is having to attack her huge seed with the Devil Bringer. The most challenging fights are the ones with Credo and Dante because they're much more up close and personal. I just love whenever Dante and Nero clash blows. But now it's time to confront Sanctus. The boss is very unique. Very much a get back here boss as you have to use the grapple to your advantage and then pummel him while he's down. It's very satisfying.
Pray for help, Savior, because you're gonna need it.
Alright, I like Nero now. So I just beat the final boss. I guess the game's over now. Very short game. But, of course, that's not the end. Credo dies and is promptly forgotten about for the rest of the game. Just like how Niji's death was forgotten about except for a few moments. Nero is captured.
So melodramatic. Besides, if you die without giving my sword back, I'm gonna be pissed. Then come and get it. What a punk.
Wait, can it be? Are you teasing me? Yes! Dante! Now we're talking my kind of business. Dante plays exactly like he did in DMC 3. He has all 4 returning styles, but to my great delight he can now switch between them with the push of a D-pad button. Much better. This opens up so many more combo possibilities. Dante in DMC 4 is the greatest Dante in the history of the franchise so far. I love how he takes the winged talisman right back where Nero left it. So Dante's section begins with going all the way back down to where you came and going back towards the castle where... Oh god. Dante's entire section is just going to be going back the way Nero came in. Oh joy. Not only that, but that means he has to refight all the bosses that Nero fought again. Although there are bits and pieces I enjoy, particularly whenever Dante defeats a boss, he gets a new weapon, and you can freely switch between all of them at will. You're not limited to just 2 of each, which is a huge, huge improvement. And the cutscenes that play whenever you do are just classic Dante. What does kind of redeem having to fight the bosses the second time as Dante is that because you have the ability to switch between 4 styles at a whim, this leads to being able to do all kinds of combos that you couldn't do as Nero. For example, when attacking a kid in the seat, you have to use Swordmaster because it's the only way Dante will do combos while in the air. Otherwise, he just does a straight-up slam. One of my favorite things is when he goes into the die room. Instead of playing the game, Dante just destroys it and goes on his way. I wish more game protagonists did that. And then, there's the scene where Dante confronts Agnes. And I must show this scene in full because it's one of the most surreal things I have ever seen.
It was my assumption that those demons would prove far inferior in the face of your tactics.
You summon and kill. Summon and kill. I fail to see the logic here. Said it. The price to pay for power?
Humans. They are but stubborn and foolish. It takes a journey to hell for them to accept and praise their god. A fact that tickles Irony's judgment.
And your judgments interest me not. For I am here to reclaim what is rightfully mine.
That is what you seek. And that is why I wait in your power.
You will fumble in the opposition of my quest. Though I encourage for an opportunity to battle a being of such grand delusion as you is a sweet fortune.
Wow. Just wow. Of course, after beating Agnes, who really hasn't been so hard, he just keeps doing the same thing. He's like a sniveling little weasel. Of course, Dante shows just what he's made of by just killing the guy. So now Dante's final boss. It's actually unique and the scenario is quite beautiful. Basically, you just have to hit these jewel things, and falling off is not punished. Of course, Dante's role is not to defeat the boss, it's to return Yamato's sword to Nero, so he can take care of the boss from the inside. So now, we return to Nero. Finally, something unique after having to backtrack all those levels. But, like the last game, which I didn't mention in my DMC review because I didn't have much to say about it, you have to refight all the major boss battles in the game again! 3 times! I had to do this 3 times! It's like Mega Man where you have to refight the same bosses again. It's appropriate, I guess. So now Nero confronts Sanctus. So the final battle, and it's just the same battle as the last time. Just with no huge statue to fight. Yeah, Devil May Cry 4 is unfortunately very guilty of reusing assets. So the final battle is really not too different.
Sorry I took so long. Kitty.
I guess that makes it worth it, though. So now, one last thing to take care of is Dante will just hang back and let Nero take the lead. It's pretty unremarkable, more of a spectacle than a challenge, really. It does give an idea of what Nero can do if he's fully unleashed.
Now I know.
down. And now, you die!
Hey, Dante. Will we meet again?
So, it's a happy ending. Nero saved his girlfriend, Dante gets to run his shop for another day, and Credo is promptly forgotten about. Yeah, that was kind of weird, but before we wrap this up, I'll talk about the extra characters that the game has. With the special edition, you have the ability to play as Virgil, Lady, and Trish. I'm not going to talk about the Bloody Palace because I'd be repeating myself. Virgil's campaign sadly doesn't reveal what he was up to before DMC3. There was this weird focus on this woman who I thought would be important, but doesn't really get brought up too much. Virgil plays like he did in DMC3, so I don't really have much to add. It's odd that I had to go through playing the entire game as Virgil just to get 2 cutscenes. I'm guessing Virgil just went for a very long walk that day. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. Meanwhile, Lady and Trish have a campaign that also doesn't reveal what they were doing during DMC4's story, it's just 2 cutscenes. You play as Lady in Nero's levels and Trish in Dante's. Lady is slow, but she packs a punch, which makes sense, she is more of a long-range fighter. All about using the Kalina and Nero's abilities are mapped to Lady, such as the grapple move. Trish is lightning fast, which again fits her character. I particularly enjoy throwing the Sparta sword, but like before, you don't get much. Just a cutscene. I really wish this would stop. You have a chance to expand the lore in the story, and you just don't do it! So overall, that's Devil May Cry 4. I think it's a game that's severely lacking in identity. It does a lot of things very well, deepening the combat, multiple playable characters, but unfortunately the second half of the game is just going backwards from the way you came, which is not a good way to deepen the gameplay. Backtracking has been used in DMC before, but not to this scale. I literally just went back the way I came. It's a good game, but just not one that reaches full potential. Capcom also noticed the mixed response and decided to try a different approach when making the next Devil May Cry. Rather than making DMC 5 right away, the next game would be a reboot. More on that for another time.
Come on, babes! Let's rock!